You can see some strange sights on the roads of Britain, but that's nothing new. Ever since the motor, in one form or another, got itself on wheels, the sights of the road have been changing and multiplying. Commercial vehicles like these are now museum pieces, literally. But once a year, they're let out of London's Transport Museum and private collections to take a run to Brighton and revive memories of the days about half a century ago when fire engines looked like this. And the latest thing in trucks was nowhere near as streamlined as they are now. Neither were the buses. Modern traffic at Brighton, at the end of a 60 miles run, gives way to the veterans. On a Sunday afternoon at a holiday resort, nobody's in a tearing hurry to get anywhere, and the sights of yesterday are just an added attraction. But come to Monday morning and it's a very different story. Some of the sights on the road on a working day are calculated to produce a motorist's nightmare, sights such as this. It's a road train, 120 feet long. It moves majestically at an average speed of 5 miles an hour. Just imagine trying to pass it on a narrow road. Carrying a giant transformer from the south of England to Scotland, the road train tries to miss rush hour traffic in cities and towns by going through them at dusk. And at night, it parks in a lay-by while the crew usually find lodgings nearby, coming aboard again the next morning. It takes 5 men to work this road train, 2 drivers, 2 mates, and a steersman. Together, they'll travel 400 miles in about 10 days. At that rate, a driver needs the temperament of a tortoise, whether he's pulling or pushing the load. Patience and humor are virtues too, particularly for the steersman, whose task is to link the head with the tail. Okay, let's go. And they're off again with a load that weighs 106 tons, is 11 feet wide and 14 feet high. Vital statistics, which are bound to make it unpopular. Who decides when a big load like this is allowed on the already congested roads? The answer is the Ministry of Transport. Every year, 3,500 applications are made for movements of all kinds, but only 400 get permits to move on this scale. The other loads are either split up or sent by other means. On the road, the police have the job of seeing the road train gets through without causing more hold-ups than necessary. This job's an emergency, as the transformer is wanted urgently because of a power station breakdown. The crew know this too. Upon their skill in maneuvering the load depends the speed at which the 150,000-pound road train, that's with the load, can meet the emergency. And now they hurry along while the going's good. They never quite know what may be round the next corner. All sorts of unexpected things travel by road today, even a rocket, destined perhaps to take off eventually for the moon. But who would expect to meet a Pullman on the road? Or a railway engine? 2 loads to make any motorist demand, why don't the big loads go by rail? Well, of course, many do. These 100 feet long concrete beams, weighing 31.5 tons, were refused permission to travel by road. So onto the rail they went. They're being loaded near Norwich for the 230-mile journey across country to Newport, Monmouthshire. Whatever their weight, loads longer than 90 feet or wider than 14 feet must receive official permission before they can travel by road. Not that British Rail necessarily jump at what they call indivisible loads. Making up 32 trains to carry 184 beams is an awkward business. But here's a case where it really is quicker by rail. only 24 hours from east to west. By road, a matter of days for each load. The concrete beams are needed for a viaduct forming part of the new M4 motorway, which will link London and South Wales. But the railway can't get the load right to the site, so for the last 4 miles, it has to be transferred to the road onto an 8-wheel transporter with a steering rear bogie. Even such a small journey has its problems, especially if it's wet. Awkward moments too for tail-end Charlie, which make it easy to imagine how much chaos could be caused if these beams crossed England by road. But more than 60% of the big loads today travel less than 10 miles of their journey by road. The rest is by rail or sea. Soon, another train load will be on the way. 5 or 6 beams to a train, 23 beams to a span, 8 spans to the viaduct. And each beam eased into position on ball bearings about the size of cricket balls, rolling on the day when yet another badly needed road will meet the demands of Britain's rising tide of motorists. This sight on the roads may be less often seen in the future. New double-decker car trains like those on the continent are being introduced. They'll be joining British Rail's oil mobile pipelines, cement liners, and other specialized commercial trains coming into their own nowadays and helping to relieve the roads. Even so, track and tunnel dimensions often make rail transport impracticable, though occasionally ingenuity may save the day. Right from the drawing board, this 123-ton transformer was actually tailored to fit the tunnels and bridges on its way through the mountains of North Wales to a hydroelectric power station. The transformer reached the power station safely, thanks to a unique piece of cooperation between designer, manufacturer, and the transport men. But for how much longer must Britain juggle with this problem of big or awkward loads? Because of their dimensions or destination, some big loads will always need to go by road with the risk of traffic pile-ups. An obvious solution, of course, is more throughways with room to move.